5:42 a.m. on August 18, 1940, RAF North woke to a sound that froze engines and breath alike, the Jericho trumpet of dive bombers. Elizabeth Carter, 24 and a mechanic, heard that frequency as surely as others heard alarms. While men scrambled and shouted bearings, she counted shadows and felt the numbers in her bones. The base would have minutes, and everything depended on guns that kept jamming. Small detail, huge effect. Small detail, huge effect. She had been awake since 3:10 a.m., working Merlins and memorizing vibration patterns. The gunners laughed when she warned that the QF guns jammed after 17 to 19 rounds. Officers smiled and walked away. But she had tracked ejected casings, measured a 2mm deviation, and realized that tiny misalignment decided whether a feed rotated clean or seized catastrophically. Small detail, huge effect. Small detail, huge effect. After weeks of stolen hours, she built a secret prototype, a multi-barrel rotary gun crafted from aircraft tubing, a crank from a bicycle pedal, and a central rod from a broken Merlin crankshaft. She balanced 6 light barrels around a hand-filed collar, used oak to absorb recoil, and perfected a feed offset of 3 degrees. Every detail reduced heat, shock, and jamming. The small things that make or break lives in combat. Small detail, huge effect. On August 17, the base's drills confirmed her worst fears. A routine jam took 13 seconds to clear, enough time for a bomber to score a fatal strike. Dismissed by engineers as a childish toy, she kept filing tolerances until the prototype hummed like a supercharger. The machine felt alive. She hid it under a tarp in the southwest AA pit and waited for the moment when the Luftwaffe would force the experiment into proof. Small detail, huge effect. At Schuberry-Ness, she tested the prototype in front of skeptical officers. Phase 1 spun the barrel cluster to 700 RPM without ammo. Phase 2 fired 10 rounds per second with 0 jams. Phase 3 sustained continuous fire past 1,000 rounds a minute. Heat, wear, and feed efficiency exceeded expectations. The officers, previously derisive, fell silent as numbers proved what instincts had told her. The gun worked. Small detail, huge effect. Morning of August 18th, radar warned of incoming formations. Crews were exhausted and guns were unreliable. When dive bombers sliced the horizon and the first wave struck, fuel and hangars burned and the anti-aircraft pits struggled. In a pit written off as low functioning, Carter revealed her cranked Carter Mech 1. She braced the recoil, spun the crank, and made the sky her target, firing as bombs fell and smoke crawled across the field. Small detail, huge effect. Her first bursts found a bomber's engine and oil line. It fell like a struck animal. Then a Messerschmitt's radiator split under her tracers. Wing structures failed. Aircraft spiraled. One by one, she watched 7 enemy planes break, burn, or crash. In 14 brutal minutes, a homemade gun applied precision the official weapons lacked. The base survived what could have been ruin, and survivors counted their luck and her craft as the difference. Small detail, huge effect. After the attack, commanders and engineers examined the casings and fragments. No deformities, uniform ejection, and penetration patterns showing consistent grouping. They called it engineering, not improvisation. Teleprinters fed Fighter Command with hard numbers, 0 jams, 98% feed efficiency, and grouped impacts beyond expectation. The classified designation Carter Mechie appeared in logs before the ministry ordered studies. Small detail, huge effect. Recognition collided with secrecy. Ministry officials demanded documentation and restricted production to a few sites. Public credit was blocked for operational security and politics. Carter was told to keep building, not to be named. She was moved later to engine production in a rear depot. Her work continued to influence rotary feed experiments while her name faded into archives. The weapon's principles spread while her authorship was hidden. Small detail, huge effect. The base rebuilt and morale turned. Mechanics and gunners began to learn her 3-degree feed offset and other tricks by chalk and touch. Engineers replicated parts in better alloys and with proper milling. Within 1 week, plans for a Carter Mech 2 replication appeared on drafting tables. Men who had scorned her now asked to learn from her hands, and a master fitter pledged his crew to follow her lead at the lathe and the filing bench. Small detail, huge effect. She recorded reasons for success in a single line. "I built it because no one else would." That phrase echoed as ministry directives classified the design. Production was limited and documentation sealed. Orders moved Carter north to support engine production, and a hush replaced the immediate praise. Officials insisted anonymity to avoid alerting the Luftwaffe. The weapon saved lives. The institution preserved advantage by burying the maker's name. Small detail, huge effect. The larger picture, institutions prioritize doctrine and authorization, but crisis often rewards those who act. Carter's tactile method, listening to metal and fixing tolerances by feel, was viewed as amateur at the time, yet proved decisive. Her 2mm alignment revealed that precision born of touch can beat formal procedure. The episode raises a persistent question. Who writes history when the people who did the work are silenced by secrecy and custom? Small detail, huge effect. Over the following months, the Luftwaffe shifted tactics and Britain endured the Blitz. The Carter multi-barrel concept influenced subsequent prototypes, but seldom carried her signature. Post-war designs echoed the same principles. Carter moved to Rolls-Royce after the war, focusing on cooling and vibration, married, raised a family, and rarely spoke of that singular morning. Her life returned to ordinary routines, while her invention lived in quiet diffusion. Small detail, huge effect. She died in 1981, her attic hiding sketches smudged with oil and pencil and a single note, that private shorthand. The tiniest offset that had rewritten a battle, summed both the craft and the tragedy. An inventor whose work saved lives but who earned no public page. The RAF's classified memos and the men who survived remembered her differently from official files. Memory held the name they had denied the record. Small detail, huge effect. If you believe ordinary people change history more than our textbooks admit, drop the number 7 in the comments. If you think wartime secrecy explains why names vanish, hit like. If you want more chapters about unsung innovators who shaped battles, subscribe and ring the bell. This channel exists so stories like Elizabeth Carter's don't disappear into silence. Small detail, huge effect. Small detail, huge effect. Small